Yep.
Say something.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
We good?
Yep.
Great. Welcome, everyone.
Great.
Oh,
Oh, man. And the other report.
action. Okay, we're really good to go now. Excellent. Welcome, everyone, to the Lincolnville Selectmen's meeting. It is November 8th. Having just concluded our executive session regarding a personnel matter, I would like to open the podium for the citizens forum, seeing as how we are quoteless this evening. Seeing no one rushing up to the podium for the citizens forum for any non-agenda items, let's move along to the administrator's report.
Okay. Just in case you were all unaware, 9 days ago we had quite a rainstorm, which we had people out on Sunday taking inventory of damaged locations and cones and the works, and commenced with cleanup on Monday. A couple of different contractors helped us out with that. We have filed our damage and injury assessment with the Waldo County EMA in hopes that there'll be a potential disaster declaration that we may be eligible for reimbursement of some or all of the funds that were occurred. We don't have a final accounting, but we're probably in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000 by the time we're done. We also had an election last week. I'd like to extend undying gratitude and thanks to the many ballot clerks that assisted us with that, as well as to the voters that came out and voted. Very good turnout for what we consider an off-year election. See you in June. Dog licenses are due by the end of the year. They're available now. You can get them here at the town office or online through the online licensing or online services part of the website. Please register or license your dogs before year end. It'll save you money. It'll save us the hassle of chasing you down. And also it's helpful if your animal should happen to get away and we locate it, to get it returned to you rather than taking it to the shelter where you have to pay more money to get it back. And the last thing I have is on your spots was a portion of an email that the Camden town manager sent to me regarding the possible dates to get together with the Lincolnville board and the Camden board to discuss the east and west dams of McGonagall Lake. And they had some suggestions for dates and times, and if those aren't workable, could we get together some other dates and times, and then any agenda items that we'd like to consider.
What does December 13th, prior to an agenda item of the Lincolnville Select Board?
That's your regular meeting night. And I think they're saying that that could work for them because they don't meet on Mondays, to come sit down with you folks prior to your meeting or as an agenda item of your meeting. Probably not, agenda item 15. You'd probably want to put them somewhere early on so they could do the things and move on.
Yeah.
I won't speak for anyone else, but I would prefer if we could meet them during a regularly scheduled meeting, just especially because that time of year is unbelievably hectic. For me personally, not that that should dictate anyone else's actions, but like Kern said, it's very difficult to schedule time away in the middle of a working day, and I would like to meet with them, so that's just how I feel about that.
Yeah, well, and I agree. Will this be a executive session meeting?
No.
Will this be?
I don't think there's any
open forum.
I don't think there's any issues that would come up that would qualify for an executive session.
Okay.
I might encourage you to try to do it on a off Monday night, even if it were in January.
Okay.
If you put it on, we don't know what comes on your agenda, and it's been a couple of years in the workings. It might do us well to set aside a fair amount of time, and if it only takes a half hour, 45 minutes, but by the time you get done introducing 5 of you to 5 of them and
Yeah.
getting an understanding, time can get taken away pretty quickly.
And much like other workshops and as boards have done in the past, we can, while the public is encouraged to attend, we don't necessarily have to allow public comment during a workshop or something like that.
Yeah.
They can come and comment at a later date if something should come up. So I'm inclined to agree with David. I'd hate for us to get into a really good conversation and then have to cut it short because of an agenda item or whatnot. So,
Agreed.
but the January could be good. I mean, obviously doing it in a timely fashion so that if there's budget implications, that would be great. But with consideration that Selectman Garrettson is excused tonight, perhaps we could follow up with a little digital poll with some dates that make sense.
Okay. That would be good for me.
But, you know, I'm getting the sense from everyone, all the nodding of heads, that this is a very exciting piece of communication to get, and so we will try to make it work, yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah, all right, thanks for that, David.
Okay. Thank you. That is beyond the agenda.
That's it for administrator's report.
For administrators report.
Any other questions for David on administrator's report?
So back to the storm,
Yes.
how did we make out in the harbor? Did we have anything askew down there, or business as usual?
I think it got fairly well up and down, but there was
No damage?
no more than wear and tear.
Okay.
I think we were very fortunate to not have a moon tide and the tide
Yeah.
happen in
The,
concurrence
the
with
other thing that had
storm.
occurred is on the outer floats, the easternmost, Dark Harbor, in preparation for putting the outer easternmost in storage, had moved the bridge between the two onto the outer float. So that they rode separately, which really helps out.
Couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah,
Somewhat fortuitous.
okay,
Thank you, David.
great, let's move along to upcoming meetings and announcements.
All meetings are here at the town office unless announced otherwise. The town office will be closed on Thursday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. The Broadband Committee is scheduled to meet Friday, November 12th, 9 a.m. at the town office. Board of Selectmen is going to have a workshop on priorities on Monday, the 15th at 6 p.m. Midcoast Solid Waste Corporation Board of Directors meeting Wednesday, November 17th, 6:30 at the Camden Town Office. The Comprehensive Plan Review Committee meets Wednesday, November 17th at 7 p.m. And the Board of Selectmen meet next in regular session on Monday, November 22nd, 6 p.m.
Thank you very much. And are there any upcoming community events anyone wishes to share? Seeing nothing, let's move along to the meeting minutes from the 25th.
I move that the board approve the October 25th, 2021 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Thank you all very much, and we have a second set of minutes,
I move the
please.
board approve the October 27th, 2021 meeting minutes as presented.
So moved,
Second.
seconded, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you all
I
very
have to
much.
abstain from that one.
Sure.
Mr. Green alerted me that he was going to be unable to make it tonight after the agenda got issued.
Okay, do we want to table this for a future agenda where perhaps,
Yeah, cause I've got, I definitely.
You have
think there's a bunch
questions?
of Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And it's important, so
and it sounded like the other provider was going to be able to.
Well, I
make
didn't
it.
want to try to get them both in the same night.
I did, sorry,
Okay.
and forgive me, I feel
Yeah.
silly asking, but Mr. Green, which provider was he representing?
Provident?
Okay, and was Hartford, gonna be the other one that was?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so general nodding of heads to table this for a future agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. And next up, Selectman Barnett Parker. You have the
So
floor.
this was more, just this a 1 second thing, just, and David clarified it for me, but just there are a couple of culverts that are awaiting paving on Duck Trap, and I was hoping it was something that might get taken care of before the winter time, and just, that was pretty much it.
And they are actually paved.
They are.
They were
Well, then-
paved last week.
Yeah. Maybe I will not have to replace so many CV axles on my.
Just come down, well, if you want to, just come down my road, yeah.
Right, thank you.
All right, anything else on that? All right, moving along to broadband update.
So,
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
we, broadband committee, we've got a long day ahead of us on Friday where we'll be doing 2 interviews with, prospective RFP, that provide, to do the financial assessment and structural assessment. We also have one, on November 15th at 9 AM to 11 AM. I'm not gonna say which ones are which, just because that way, it's, not that it's secret or anything, but nobody has to think that there's any priority given, it's just the way that it worked out. And hopefully we're gonna glean some good information and find out who, if any of them are a good fit for what we're looking for.
Super. Will those meetings be recorded, just in case?
I believe so, but I don't wanna give the wrong answer. I know that at least they're going to be transmitted through Zoom. I will have to double check on that, and
Okay.
I can give you an answer.
Okay,
So.
cool. Great. I guess that is it for our update for this particular meeting. Anything else, Jordan?
No? that's
Okay,
it right now.
super. Moving along, David, do you want to take an update on the American Rescue Plan Act?
Sure. You have the summary sheet from the the revenue replacement calculator. I can tell you that the finance director probably has a whole lot less hair because she's been trying to fill out the worksheets that feed this sheet. You'll note it is stamped draft. There are a number of things that we still need to verify with the interim rules and things that just don't make number sense in my mind yet. Somehow it has a revenue reduction of $216,160, which may turn out to be the number, but just doesn't seem to. The logic in there is not there. It's not our calculator, it's their calculator.
Okay.
And what happens is you see on the number 4 down there says growth rate 4.1%. If you can make 4.1% come out to the counterfactual revenue, you're a genius. But that's the way it comes out in a locked spreadsheet that we can't change the cells, it's an Excel spreadsheet provided to us.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, and it's partly due to the fact that you'll see up above under number 2, it's an 18-month calculator. It's just not as logical as, you'd hope or think it would be. So it's coming. We think the finance director and I think it's right, but want to verify. And even if you have a reduction in revenue, I'm not quite sure what the implications are. Does that mean you can use that money for anything under the sun, or you still have to qualify, pay yourself as a revenue replacement, and then use it elsewhere? It's just,
Interesting.
I apologize for this not being clear, but man, it's not.
Questions, comments? Yeah,
So,
Jordan.
this is something that was come about by using a government
Yep.
calculator, okay, and it's not from looking at our books and projections and saying.
Well, yeah.
Or, I know that our books are used, but it's not like looking at car registrations, and looking at the year before and seeing that there was a certain amount less, was it?
Yeah, it actually, you go pre-pandemic and you fill in the worksheets. There's 3 that feed this. There's pre-pandemic revenues during this certain window of time, And then the other sheet that I can't, the growth rate, which you can calculate if you think it's more than 4.1. We started doing some calculations and it didn't appear to come out more than 4.1, and the instruction says if you're not trying to make the argument that it's more, you use 4.1,
Okay.
if that makes any sense at all.
No, it does.
Yeah, so, you know, all the numbers that we feed basically come out of the audit, and then others you can supplement if there's other factual information that doesn't necessarily plug in from the audit. And then it does all the calculations for you and spits out this summary. The question comes, in my mind, when I look at the growth rate, it just doesn't, the math doesn't work for me yet, I guess. And I got this from Kayla over the weekend, so I really haven't had time to digest it, but I didn't want to keep, half secrets from you and have an update with no update, even though I'm giving you no update.
Yeah, Mike.
So, so when you say the math doesn't really work, is that because you think maybe that the growth rate, 4.1, the number that they gave us to use,
Yep.
is too high?
No. It's very clearly, when you plug in stuff, it doesn't look like our growth rate is 4.1
Okay.
or greater. And the instructions are very clear that if it's less than,
Right, yeah.
you shall use
Yeah, so
4.1.
So the instructions, having used 4.1, when actually Lincolnville's might be 3.7.
Right. But if you take the base year revenue, line 3, and you increase it by 4.1%, you do not come out with that counterfactual revenue number.
No, it should go up by like $318,000.
And it's like, okay, why is that? It has something to do with the number of months that have transpired or have gone by since the start of the pandemic till you do this.
Yeah.
And so they want to say, okay, and this is a real early read. They want to say, okay, it's 4.1% for 1 year, but you've been more than 1 year in the pandemic with the potential lost revenue. So it's 4.1 for 1 year, and then some percentage for the couple of months you've been beyond it.
Which you can't see because you can't see what's driving the spreadsheet.
You got it, and then you go to
Interesting.
read the interim rule has an explanation, but it takes a moment to read and digest and then comprehend how that plugs into this. The good news is we're still here, we're whole. And if the calculations bear fruit, and this is, at some point we can remove the draft off this,
Yeah.
then it gives the board more avenues and opportunities to utilize funds, if they so choose. So,
Yeah, sure, Mike.
Yeah, the other question is, are other towns, is this a statewide, are other towns having the same problems, do you know? Calculations?
well, I don't know the answer to that. I haven't reached out to any as yet. That was kind of in my thought of to do. The other thing is, this is one of the, were there 5 or 6 or 7 different expenditure categories? One was revenue replacement. Some places may have just chosen to just say, we're not gonna ever spend any money on this, so we're not even gonna bother to try to figure it out. We're gonna spend it all for, giving firefighters a bonus. So I don't know who else may have done this.
I was just curious, if it's so fatally flawed that other people.
Well, I don't think it's fatally flawed. I think it's just, I'm not comfortable not having draft on it at this moment. And, I'd rather be cautious. And I think I've taken this approach with all this stuff. I'd rather be cautious and right than rush and be wrong.
Sure.
So it still needs some more
Refinement.
refinement and a moment to read the rule again, let it sink in, you know, have dinner, have a night's sleep, go check something, you know,
Wake up
at
at
the
2 in the morning.
at the Midcoast Solid Waste Corporation, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you know, then the light comes on.
Uh-huh.
And so that's where we are with that, I guess.
Okay.
Let's see, was there another thing I'd written in there? About the loss rate. Oh, and everybody, I talked to county commissioner, but I did not extend an invitation to come, and I don't know if we need more than what Josh has obtained from Waldo County.
I think that was pretty clear and concise what we did get.
Yeah.
I don't
Even
know.
though it's probably not the answer that we really wanted, but at least it was cordial. It didn't end up in a finger pointing
Yeah.
Right.
situation, and
It is what
sorry
it
to put
is.
Josh in
Exactly.
a position like that.
Well, I think that, I believe after reading some of what he wrote and some of the things and the legalese that they sent us, they've definitely gotten legal counsel to tell them that it was okay to expend their money the way they're expending it.
And they definitely know how they wanna spend it, so
Oh, yes.
I don't wanna get into a conversation that could lead to any ill will, especially if there's no benefit or positive results that can come with it.
You know, I was the person that raised this in the first place, so I kind of feel responsible to say something. I'm glad you guys are comfortable with it. I mean, personally, I would sleep a little better if they were also to provide this board with the actual language that they use to base their decision on. But that's not gonna happen, I totally understand that. And,
Well, I think I can still get something from them. I just didn't want to push
yeah, okay.
county commissioner because
No, I don't want
she'd
to,
been in and out of the hospital.
like I said last time, I don't wanna push anybody or be in any way antagonistic, I just wanna cover the collective backside of Lincolnville. And so the taxpayers don't find themselves on the hook for 20 grand. That's all. And,
Well, personally, I just think, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not right to get information, I have absolutely no concern about that, and it's honestly, in the whole purview of their budget, I think the $20,000 is the most rock solid decision that they made, so,
yeah.
you know, sorry, I don't wanna, I don't want,
That-
and I'm not saying that in any
Yeah,
negative
no,
way,
yeah, no.
but that's just how I feel
Sure.
about it, and
Yeah, in this instance, it doesn't seem like there's more nuance to be gleaned.
No, yeah, I totally understand that, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for David on this, or we're just, thank you for the update,
Yeah.
and we'll look forward to more updates.
Yeah, nope, thanks a lot.
Okay. Moving along, selectmen updates on your activities in our other municipal groups, boards, committees, etc. Kern, what do you have for us?
There's been no activity in my, outside of the Lincolnville groups.
Alrighty. Selectman Ray.
Well, yeah, at some point, I guess maybe I should ask for this to be placed on the agenda. The Waldo County Woodshed is willing to help build another one of those structures on our salt and sand shed. Should Lincolnville, for Lincolnville supplied only donations. So for people who live here, if they want to donate cut, split, and delivered firewood, they could store it there, and Waldo County Woodshed would do the distribution. But I mean, it's town property, this, you know, all of that other stuff goes in, and I don't wanna, it's not something that we can just, you know, I just wanna say, yeah, sure, what the heck.
Yeah, that sounds like a great thing to put on a future agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Selectman Barnum Parker.
nothing outside of the broadband updates that I gave.
Super. And I have an update. Finally, we did have an EMS review committee meeting.
Wait a minute. I was locked out, sorry.
Yeah, it was
I
problematic.
really
It
tried
was-
to get in.
Locked out.
It
Yeah.
was a real trick to get into that meeting. But there wasn't a quorum, by a considerable amount. So we did hear a rather comprehensive report from Northeast Mobile Health on their activities, what they're looking forward to doing, and because there wasn't a quorum, there wasn't election of officers or any of that kind of thing, which I was grateful for, even though there was talk about doing that. So we'll look forward to our next meeting to hopefully get some more business done and hopefully have some numbers for the committee members to discuss, so that we can bring those forward into our budget conversations. But the long and the short of it is Northeast Mobile Health's performance has been good and in keeping with the contract that we have, and it seems like they've really got some pretty forward-thinking programs in the works to address the very real staffing shortage and challenges that the industry is facing statewide and nationally. So that's that. All right, anything else on Selectmen updates? Let's move along to the treasurer and payroll warrants.
I move that the board approve the treasurers and payroll warrants.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Thank you all very much. And we have two different pieces of business that require the Board of Selectmen to enter into executive session. Can I have the first motion, please?
I move the board enter into executive session pursuant to Title I MRSA Section 4056C to discuss the possible disposition of real property where premature disclosure of information would prejudice the competitive bargaining position of the town.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you very much.